So, I want to talk a little bit about managing your files for the semester, keeping them organized, and also nomenclature. Those are the three things I really want to talk about. So, for the semester, you should really have a folder, um, whether you keep it on your desktop or you have it on your flash drive. It doesn't really matter as long as you have an overarching file that has files for you to keep all of your files together for this semester and then by the class. So we're moving into fall 20. So I would suggest that you put a folder for each of the classes that you're registered for. Um, and I only have two in here, but obviously, if you're taking um, and you can also do it by number. So if you wanted to, you could say, oh, I'm taking MGD 212 Illustrator 2. So you can do it this way. Or if you wanted to, you can just call it Illustrator 2. That's perfectly fine too. But this way it just helps you to keep everything organized. So for your InDesign class, you're going to want to make sure that you add some files, some file folders in here based on the class itself. So if you look on your syllabus for your class, there's going to be a breakdown that tells you how your class is graded. So this is a great way to kind of divide up this folder. So we know that there's going to be projects. So for sure you want a projects folder. There's assignments. There's actually homework assignments in here as well. So they're kind of divided. Assignments are in-class work and homework is obviously more of at home kind of stuff. So you could even separate those. And attendance studio practice, you're probably not going to have anything. You can always add folders later. You can also add a folder for your syllabus and for notes. So if you're one that likes to type up notes during demos or whatever it might be, maybe I provide you some kind of resources. Maybe this is just called resources. Really kind of up to you. But this is a great way to start. And then within your projects, as you start working on projects, then you're going to start making more folders in here. So for project one, it's called the lyric poster. So everything in here should be for your lyric poster. So you have an InDesign folder, and then you might have some other folders. So support would just be, it's just that. I'm going to do some research on my lyric poster, and I'm going to start putting some files in here, things that I'm really thinking about, or you could also put them in your concepts. You can also, sometimes I call this inspiration. Oops. Sometimes I'll call this inspiration. And as I'm doing my research on, my lyric poster, I might be throwing some files in here that I might refer to just for inspiration for my poster. So that's going to really help you to stay organized. Do your best not to keep a bunch of files on your desktop. So even if you need to make a new file, I'm hitting Command Shift N for a new file folder here. You can have one that's just called file. And so even if it's not going in this file necessarily, maybe it's not for school, but something else, throw it in here and try and keep yourself organized. So maybe once a week you empty this out. So even if we look at my hard drive here, I usually have something that's called file. So these are some things that I need to file. Or I just got a new computer, so I cleared off my desktop at work. So these are some things that I need to go back and file. So obviously this file's a little bigger, but this one's more my personal stuff that I need to plug in my other hard drive and file those away. But if you do that, then it keeps, your desktop a lot cleaner. Instead of having this completely full and not being able to find what it is you're looking for. Nomenclature is how you name your file, so it's just a file naming convention. And in the MGD program, we use last name, first initial, underscore, whatever the class is, and you can either I mean, obviously follow the instructor and what they're asking you. Usually they'll give you some idea. For me, it doesn't matter. If you want to put IND for InDesign, that's fine, but just keep consistent. Pick something and stick with it. If you want to put 114, MGD 114, because that's the number, that's fine too, if you're more of the numbers person. And then after that next underscore, it's going to be some kind of description. So this is P1 lyric poster. You want to have a description. Don't just call this poster. Don't just call it P1 poster, because you're going to do a lot of posters in your lifetime. And when you go back, you do a find for posters, you're going to want to make sure that it has some kind of descriptor. So when you're specifically looking for the lyric poster, you can find it because it has the word lyric in it. And it's not just, you're doing a find for poster and you have 68 posters that you have to open to try and find the right one because you just name everything poster. So you really want to make sure that you have some kind of descriptive name in here, and that's going to really help you out. So be consistent for each of your classes. So if I was for InDesign class, I would start every one of my file names, Adams, M underscore IND underscore. This part at the end is what's going to change out. So that's what I would recommend. What I would recommend doing. So if you have something, some kind of format like this, it's really going to help you to stay organized. So I would suggest that you just do this as soon as you can. Just go ahead and do them. Even if you haven't done any assignments and there's nothing in here, perfectly fine. Or if you haven't done any homework, perfectly fine. Just go ahead and make your folders so that way you're organized and you are ready to go. I hope this was helpful for helping you to stay organized and just managing your files.